You get pulled over in Wyoming, an officer finds drugs. What happens next? This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. Well, this is a story that we have a lot of interest in here. So, what happens? You're caught with drugs. What happens on the most basic level?
Well, it depends. For smaller amounts, you can get a ticket and be sent on your way with a court date. And for larger amounts, you will get arrested, taken to jail, booked, fingerprinted, and you'll have to wait to see the judge to get a bond.
Okay, so if we just kind of walk people through, you are from the moment you're caught. What is the next few things that happens?
Well, you should consider calling an attorney for a couple reasons. Especially if you have a misdemeanor amount and you're from out of state, you don't want to have to travel back to Wyoming for court. And so an attorney will look at everything that happened and get you a deal that hopefully you can live with. Our clients are usually very happy with the outcomes we get, and prevent you from coming back to Wyoming. Now, if you're charged with a felony, you should definitely get a lawyer as well, because you're going to have to go in front of a judge and get a bond. And if you have an attorney, the attorney can help you get bond conditions you can live with and a lower bond amount, that is the dollar amount that you have to post, because you have an attorney and it shows you don't plan on skipping town, you plan on dealing with the charge, and that's evident by investing in an attorney. So the first thing is obviously call a lawyer, and if it's a felony amount, you can expect to see a judge within 72 hours, but it can take as long as 72 hours. So unfortunately, if you're arrested on a Friday, you may not see a judge until Monday.
Wow. Okay. So you're referring here to felony amounts and misdemeanor amounts. Can you just kind of run through what those are?
Sure. So misdemeanor is based on weight, generally speaking. And so if you're talking about the more serious drugs like cocaine, methamphetamine, those type of drugs, if you have 3 grams or more, that's a felony. When you're talking about marijuana, if you have 4 ounces or more, that's a felony. And if you're talking about a liquid form of drug, that is, the vape pens or anything that you would put in a syringe, zero point 0.3 grams of liquid is a felony. So a very, very tiny amount there on the more serious drugs. If you're talking a felony that doesn't have to do with weight, it can be because the cops suspect that you weren't just possessing this drug for your own consumption, you planned on sharing it or selling it to someone else. That becomes a serious felony very easily. If, there's a few things that they find, like, say, a scale, the larger amount, but there's baggies in your possession, little baggies to put the drugs in, or sometimes they'll ask to search your phone. That is, they'll say, "Hey, can I look through your phone?" And they'll find evidence that supports the fact that this wasn't just for your own use, but you planned on selling it. So that turns it into a felony really quickly. And then the kind of surprising way that it becomes a felony is called the third strike rule. If you have 2 prior possessions, misdemeanors, that third one is a felony. It's that third strike. So if you've had prior convictions, it can turn into a felony.
So these are all ways where it could maybe start out looking like or being one type of charge and move more serious very quickly over the course of being questioned or whatever happens immediately afterwards?
Exactly. And so, my advice to people is, if the officer asks to look at your phone, say no. You don't have to consent. They actually have to get a search warrant, and whether or not they have enough evidence to ask the judge for a search warrant is debatable, so always say no. And then if they want to talk to you about, the drugs that you have, why do you have a scale, why do you have baggies, maybe you have a large amount of cash, definitely don't make a statement. You're just making the officer's job easier. And so my advice is don't make a statement, don't consent to a search.
Okay, very good advice. And now, once all this happens, is there any way that this whole case could just be dismissed?
Yes, it absolutely can be dismissed. Now, with these type of situations, law enforcement has, the law they have to follow. That is, they can't violate your rights. Everything has to be done by the book. And so we are able to look at what happens in your case, look at why they arrested you, why did they search you, why did they even start asking you about drugs. All of this has to be in order. So we fight it by filing a motion, that is letting the judge know, hey, the officer didn't follow the law, therefore the case, all the evidence gets suppressed and the case gets dismissed. So there's that route, and then sometimes we're able to negotiate a deal with the prosecutor where if you go ahead and admit that the drugs are yours and you agree to terms that the court gives you, as long as you do everything and you follow the law, at the end of that, we can ask, or the court will dismiss the case.
These are all things that I'm just going to guess are kind of over the head of or outside the skill set of most people. So they might need a lawyer, like you said originally, and they should probably get in touch with you. How do they do that?
Sure, we'll include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.